Hello and welcome to Pirate Bear Games, and today we'll be doing a model review for the Sylvaneth Spite Revenants. So these are 5 models in the box. We have 4 standard troopers and 1 sergeant, which is called a Shadestalker. So if we have a look at the sergeant model here we go. This looks like it's a former female elf bound with one of the tree spirits. This is the Shadestalker. So yeah, we can see she's got this dynamic claws out pose. Very vicious looking head there as well, focusing on it. So yeah, one of the big differences between these Spite Revenants and the previous Tree Revenant models that we reviewed is the face. The Tree Revenants have a more elfin looking face, and this is the Spite Revenants are definitely more aggressive looking and nasty looking, really. So yeah, again, there's great details on these kits. They are very delicate. A lot of these small parts here, sort of spindly little things coming off them. I imagine they catch quite a lot in foam as well. Lots of little spiky bits. Claws are quite sharp as well. So yeah, that's the Shadestalker. Go on and look at some of the standard Spite Revenants. There's no real variation in armor between each Spite Revenant. They've all just armed with these 2 claws here. So yeah, again they're on 32mm bases, but this is the Spite Revenant here. We'll go on to the second line Spite Revenant model. So we've got some different poses here. Yeah, they are all posed differently, as we can see. Their faces are all pretty similar. A slight different expression on them, but they do look very similar. There's some additional detail though. Here, you can see this little medallion thing dangling from the bottom there. You can go on to the third line Spite Revenant troop model. Again, they've all just got these claws. Yeah, and there he is. So yeah, go on to the next one. This is the last line trooper here. Again, they've got a little detail of the little leaves coming off and branches coming off the tree part of the model, and yeah, very wicked looking expression on the face. They do really look like vampires. You could take that head and quite easily use it for the head of a vampire. Yeah. So yeah, there's not a great deal to say about them really. They're all pretty samey. There's not a great deal of variation in terms of weapons or heads. In terms of size comparisons, they're similar to the Tree Revenants really. They're similar sort of size as a Stormcaster in terms of height. And then obviously the Stormcaster are a lot bulkier. I mean, I will say that some of them are a little bit fiddly to go together. They parts are very delicate and small, and you can see when you were assembling them, they could be quite tricky. So yeah, that's the Sylvaneth Spite Revenants. So in terms of spare parts, move these guys and girls back a little bit. Let's Stormcast and leave the party. And these are all the parts that are left over after building the Spite Revenants kit. So yeah, again, you can see there's an awful lot of spare parts. And the main ones are the Glade Banner. See, all the Tree Revenant parts are all spare. Yeah, so a lot of different spare parts. All the heads and hair for the Tree Revenants are in here as well. All the weapon arms. So one thing I was thinking is that some of these, see like that, that arm and that weapon, you could use that straight on some sort of Dark Eldar or Eldar model. Maybe a few, green stuff in that sort of flower tree emblem on the arm. It's engraved into the arm there. And you could pretty much use that as is. that slight fill just on a Dark Eldar model of some sort. And again with the arms as well, these weapons would fit quite nicely. On the Eldar models for 40k. And in Age of Sigmar again, you use them on elf models or elf models, as they're called. I guess not that we really know what the AOS elves really look like at the moment, but yeah, you could use a lot of these parts different conversions and kit bashes. Yeah, so just clear those off. A lot of spare parts with the kit. So there we have it. There's the models. Now we can go on to the rules. So again, this is the pamphlet. Comes with the kit, and here is the rules for the Spite Revenants. So Spite Revenants, Cruel Talons and Fangs, 3 attacks each. Yeah, they've got an extra attack on the Tree Revenants. 4+ to hit, 4+ to wound. So they're not wounding quite as much as the Tree Revenants. Yeah, they've got a 3+ to wound. And they also have a rend as well, which these don't have any rend, and they're only damage 1. They do higher volume of attacks, but you're only hitting half of them and wounding half of them. So yeah, it's not great. They're also the same price as the Tree Revenants. So yeah, they're getting a battle line as well, so they're 80 points for a battle line unit. Yeah. And then the special abilities here, Shadestalker. The leader of this unit is a Shadestalker. Shadestalker makes 4 attacks rather than 3 with their Cruel Talons and Fangs. So yeah, they've got an extra attack on the Shadestalker. Abilities: Whispers in the Dark. Scenery within 8 inches of any Spite Revenant is haunted by susurrating voices which hiss threats in an unknowable tongue. Your opponent must roll 2 dice when taking battle shock tests for any of their units that are within 3 inches of such a terrain feature and use the highest dice roll. Okay, so pretty situational really. So if you've got a Spite Revenant unit within 8 inches of a scenery piece, and any units that are within 3 inches of that terrain feature have to roll 2 dice when taking battle shock test. So it could come into effect, I guess. If you've got a lot of wildwoods plonked down on the table, you could try and use them, but it is very situational. Again, then the other special ability is Unbridled Malice. Spite Revenants are rightly feared for the cruel delight they take in granting their prey slow, lingering deaths. Enemy units within 3 inches of any Spite Revenants must subtract 1 from their bravery. Okay, so yeah, they're a bravery -1, which makes a difference. And yeah, we're taking those battle shock tests as well. If you're near scenery as well, maybe it might make some difference or increase the chances of units losing models from battle shock. That's it. That's all their abilities. I think for these units, really, the main, they are very a lot of their abilities are very situational, but they also, if you look in the rest of the Sylvaneth battle tone, they do have a lot of synergies with other units and other battalions as well. I know the Dryker model. If we can just grab the battle tome now briefly. Yeah, so the Dryker model, as we can see here, a rule that's addressed as Song of Spite. So Dryker shares a special kinship with the outcasts who seem to emulate her fury. You can re-roll wound rolls of 1 for Spite Revenants, whilst the unit is within 10 inches of Dryker. So yeah, so that's a synergy. So if you've got Dryker Hammerdreth on the table and you've surrounded her with Spite Revenants, then that 4+ to wound is somewhat mitigated by the re-rolling to 1s. Re-rolling to hit rolls of 1. So there's some of the synergies as well. There's this battalion here, which is the Sylvaneth Outcasts. And this battalion is 3 units of Spite Revenants. And you get this special ability if you take this. So we have here Fear the Forest Kin. Every civilization has its tale of terrifying creatures that emerge from the trees. Blood slick upon their talons, their fangs bared in a terrifying rictus. They come to slaughter, to feast, simply to revel in the fear that precedes them. When a host of such creatures gathers together, the combined dread they instill could stop their foes' hearts from beating. Okay, so the rule itself, in your hero phase, roll 2 dice for each enemy unit that is within 8 inches of at least 2 units from this battalion. For each point by which the total dice roll exceeds the unit's bravery, the unit suffers a mortal wound. Okay, so we have this ability here where basically we can inflict mortal wounds onto a unit. And I guess the thing to note here is exceeding the unit's bravery. So they do have that -1 to the bravery as well that comes into play. So you may be able to get a few mortal wounds off if you have a lot of these units on the board. And you can get it so that there's at least 2 units in, within 8 inches of each one. And another war scroll as well. That's another war scroll battalion as well. That's interesting. Is this one here, which is the Sylvaneth Dreadwood Wargrove. A 1 outcast battalion, which must contain 4 to 6 units of Spite Revenants, and all of these. So yeah, so you Dreadwood Wargrove. You must have this outcast battalion, which has that ability as well, and 4 to 6 units of Spite Revenants instead of 3. So you've got to have an extra unit. Given that they're only 80 points, it's not really a lot. Obviously, you have to pay for the battalions as well. But this here, Malicious Tormentors, this basically is the same as the Dryker. The Dryker special rule, and it allows you to reroll wounds of 1s for attacks made by any Dreadwood Spite Revenant. So again, it makes them a little bit. So yeah, and they have this subterfuge ability here, which gives you a bunch of abilities that you can use at the beginning of the first battle round. So it allows you to redeploy or have these hidden attackers, which basically limits abilities to 12 inches. So yeah, some of these are pretty good, and you basically get those for free. So for using those. So yeah, so they're not on paper, they're not as good as the Tree Revenants, but they do have some synergies as well that might come into play, especially with their bravery debuffs as well. So yeah, so that's the Sylvaneth Spite Revenants. Cool looking models, especially like this one. Pretty mean looking. So yeah, the Sylvaneth Spite Revenants. If you've enjoyed this video, then please feel free to leave a like or subscribe. It really does help me out.